Owen McKendry here for ESBR Boxing. Delighted tonight to be joined by Ramez Mahmood ahead of his English title fight. Ramez, thank you so much for joining us. And firstly, how are you, mate?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Much better for you joining me tonight. And we'll go straight into it. So this is your second attempt at the English title. Firstly, how has camp gone? And sort of on the back of the defeat, how are you sort of looking at this attempt?
Yeah, for the first part of the question, camp's gone well. It's been quite a long campaign. I've known about this fight since December or something along them lines. So we're up to March now, and then it was meant to be in February, and the fight got moved. So yeah, it's been a long old camp, and looking forward to getting in there. And then to the second part of the question, yeah, I know what mistakes I made in my first English title fight, and I don't plan on making the same mistakes again.
And then obviously you're fighting Jordan Perkis. He's unbeaten. He's only had sort of five fights, so he's relatively sort of at the fresh sort of start of his career. Is it yourself that wanted an unbeaten opponent? I mean, I've seen some things saying you sort of it was something you were looking to take on, someone you're happy to face. Was it always sort of a challenge you wanted for this fight?
Yeah, I mean, you don't get easy English title fights, and Jordan deserves to be in an English title fight himself. And the better opponents you beat, the higher your ranking goes. So you don't want easy fights regardless. So I've shown that I'm not scared to take them, and this is another good fight for myself.
Are you surprised he's making the step up so early? You know, he's only had sort of five fights so far. So in your sixth fight, going for an English title, it is relatively early in that stage of someone's career.
Yeah, it is early. I wouldn't say I'm surprised that he's taking it. I mean, he went for a Southern area when he only had four fights. So that it surprised me more when he took the Southern area in his fifth fight rather than taking English after his sixth fight. Once you win an area title, I mean, next logical progression is the English, and at those weights, there isn't many to defend your area title against. So no, I'm not overly surprised that he's taken it.
And obviously, English title is quite a prestigious thing to win. If you are successful on the night against Jordan, would it be the British next, or would you be looking to make some defences of the English?
I think the logical route probably will be the British, but I don't want to speak too far
Mhm.
ahead on that. I've got business to take over next week, and then once we come through that, then discuss what comes afterwards. But all eyes on Jordan for now.
Like you say, it's all eyes on Jordan, but it's also all eyes on yourself. You know, the self-proclaimed hardest hitting teacher in the world. How have you managed to sort of juggle being sort of like a maths teacher as well as being a professional boxer?
Oh, I'm so used to it now. I mean, like you train in the mornings, train after work, you got work in the middle of the day. I'm just used to it now, and the work sometimes helps because it's hard to sort of switch off from boxing sometimes. Like in the half terms, that I'll train, and then the whole day I'll just sit there and I think about the fight all day long. And there's such thing as mental burnout. Sometimes work helps break up that day just a little bit, takes your mind off it.
So that sort of leads on to my next question. I was going to say there's also the flip side of it that people might not realize that the release of you're not necessarily always in the gym, you've got other things to think about. Does that help you prepare for your fights?
In a way, as I said, not the physical side, but the mental side of it. That and unless you do it, you wouldn't really understand. But the mental side, to switch off at the right times just help because I'm one of them where I do tend to overthink things a lot of the time, so it does help me.
And then I've seen previous to the initial date being called off, you've been sparring the likes of and training with the likes of Lee Wood, Lee McGregor, fighters like that. What is it like being surrounded by sort of top level fighters, being in the gym with them, sparring with sort of the top level opponents?
Yeah, it's unbelievable because it's not even just sparring; it goes beyond that. It's seeing how they do little things like how they train, how they shadow box, how they live their life, how they make weight, how they diet, all those things, and you pick up you pick up loads from them.
And obviously, you know, it was two consecutive losses, but then you've come back with two consecutive wins. Do you see it yourself? Obviously, like you say, again, being the teacher will help with the mental side of things. Were those two wins sort of massively important to yourself, sort of more mentally than physically?
Yeah, pretty much. I need them. I just need to get some momentum back. I mean, during those losses, I had a long time out as well, so I was inactive at the same time. So you didn't know what was happening during those COVID times. And now to get 2 consecutive wins and just get some consistency back in my career is what I needed.
So like you say, obviously you get the consistency back. You don't want to step too far ahead. Looking towards sort of the next route along, have you ever got any ideal opponents in mind, or
I wouldn't say any ideal opponents, but I'm one of them where I love boxing, so I always sort of look what's going on around the division. And Sean McGoldrick won the British and Commonwealth title. It was about 3 weeks back now. So he's about the way, and then I think for the domestic D is open because obviously you got the Paul Butlers and the Cal Yaffais who are sort of world level at the weight, and then you got the guys at the domestic level who are trying to push them to that level. So you got the Sean McGoldricks, me, Jordan Perkis, boys like that who are sort of just the level below that, but are looking to push on to that next level.
and I've spoke to a couple of different fighters about this previously. When the fight date gets postponed, for yourself, do you see it as a positive to get more training in, or the initial is it obviously to make it's a bit of a setback? Do you sort of dwell on it, or is it okay for me? Brilliant, that's more time to sharpen the tools.
You can't really dwell on it because you got your story already. I don't, but then a lot of people say to me, "Oh, you get more time to train," but people don't understand. Like I was ready for that first date, and if I trained anymore, I would just burn out. So it's something that you got to fine tune and manage correctly because you can't stay on it for those extra 2 weeks. You're just gonna burn yourself out. So, but the boys in the trainers in the gym know what they're doing, and we fully managed it correctly.
Did you always have this date in mind for sort of like to get it straight back on, or was it a case of you had to play it by ear type thing?
Now, the second the show was cancelled, I was told that this is the new date. Get ready for this date. So I was literally back in the gym that evening. I had a day or so to soak about it a little bit, but I still trained through and then got over it. And here we are.
And then one thing on a bit of a lighter note, I did want to mention was I've seen an interview with yourself previously, where you had one of the school kids who sort of said they hadn't done their homework because they was watching your fight. Is that something that happens regularly, or is it sort of like an excuse you'd potentially accept?
I don't accept the excuse. That kid still got detention. Um, so yeah, that kid did say it got detention. Since the interview's come out, I've had a few more kids try it because they've now seen the interview. It doesn't work though. Nothing like that gets past me.
So then obviously, again, not looking too far ahead, but say you win, you are the English
Yeah.
champion, you're looking at some bigger nights with like British level. Would it be still the maths teaching, or would you potentially have to get to a stage where it's like, I can't really do this anymore, I need to just box?
Yeah. Again, that's a hard one to manage. Depends on what fights are there, what they're paying, and stuff like that. So you got to see what options are out there. Um, because as you know, at a certain level, boxing is hard. It's hard to pay the bills.
Yeah, of course. But like we say, at the moment, you manage it brilliantly.
Yeah.
Like you say, you take everything in good spirits as well. Ramez, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to yourself tonight. Any final words ahead of fight night?
No, just thanks for having me and keeping out for the fight. It's going to be a good one.
I can only re-utter those words from Ramez. It certainly looks to be a cracker. And again, hopefully, Ramez, you are successful and we can speak to you again as the new English champion.
That's the plan, mate.
Nice one, Ramez. Thank you very much.